There is a person you have met in your life who made you feel within 60 seconds like you had known them for years. You cannot fully explain why. You just felt warm around them, safe, like they already liked you before you even said anything interesting. And then there is the other kind of person, perfectly polite, perfectly normal, but something invisible sits between you and them, a wall you can never quite name. The difference between those two people is not looks. It is not money. It is not even confidence in the way most people talk about it. It is something so specific, so trainable, and so psychologically powerful that once you understand it, you will never experience a room full of strangers the same way again. It is called positive projection, and it is the hidden engine behind every person you have ever called magnetic. Let us start with a study that changed how social psychologists understand human connection. In 1992, researcher Curtis Hartman at Stanford ran a series of experiments measuring how quickly people form emotional impressions of strangers. What he found shook the field. Within 4 seconds, humans decide whether someone is safe or a threat. Not 4 minutes, 4 seconds. And that decision is not based on what you say. It is based on one single invisible signal you broadcast before you ever open your mouth. That signal is your social assumption. The story you are telling yourself about the person in front of you before the conversation even begins. Here is what that looks like in practice. Think of two people walking into the same room. Same clothes, same face, same level of success. The first person walks in and thinks quietly and unconsciously, I do not know these people yet, I will see if they are worth trusting. They scan the room, they wait. They hold themselves slightly back. They are protected. Psychologists call this a closed social posture, and the room feels it immediately without knowing why. The second person walks in with a completely different internal script. They think, I already like everyone here. I am curious about all of them. They are not performing warmth. They genuinely feel it because they decided to feel it before they arrived. Their body is open. Their eye contact lingers a half-second longer. Their smile reaches before their words do. Psychologists call this an open social posture, and the room responds to it like a plant turning toward sunlight. One is a social wall. The other is a social magnet. Same room, same people, completely different reality. This is not a metaphor. There is biology underneath it. When you project positive intent toward another person, your face microexpressions change. Your vocal tone shifts. Your oxytocin levels actually rise. And oxytocin, the neurochemical of bonding and trust, is contagious. When your brain releases it, it signals the other person's brain to release it too. You are not just being friendly. You are literally triggering a biochemical chain reaction of trust in someone else's nervous system. Now let us talk about someone who understands this better than almost anyone alive. Think about Tom Hanks. Not the movies, the actual human. Every single interview, every single public encounter, every person who has ever met him says the same thing. He made me feel like I was the most interesting person in the room. He is not just being polite. He is practicing with extraordinary skill the exact thing we are about to break down. He has decided before the interaction begins that the person in front of him is worth his full, genuine curiosity. That predecision changes everything about how he shows up. And that is the first tool. It is called the pre-approval mindset. Here is the exercise. Before you walk into any social situation, any meeting, any party, any date, any job interview, you make a decision. You say to yourself, everyone in that room is already someone I am going to enjoy. You are not lying to yourself. You are priming your nervous system. You are setting the social assumption before the data comes in, instead of waiting for the data to earn your warmth. The neuroscience behind this is called expectation priming. When your brain expects something positive, it literally filters sensory information to find evidence that confirms the expectation. You start noticing the things about people that are interesting, funny, warm, and genuine, and they feel that noticing. They feel seen by you, and people who feel seen by you feel drawn to you, not because of anything you said, because of a decision you made before you even arrived. Now here is where most people get this wrong. They think charisma is about receiving, about being impressive enough that others give you their approval. But genuine magnetism works in the exact opposite direction. It flows outward, not inward, and nowhere is that more clear than in the second tool. It is called the praise echo. Picture this. You have just given a presentation and someone walks up to you afterward and says, "That was incredible, you are so articulate." The average person says thank you and absorbs it. The magnetic person does something completely different. They say, "Thank you so much. Honestly, I have to give credit to Sarah because she helped me restructure the whole second half last night, and it was her idea that made the ending land." You have just done three things simultaneously. You accepted the compliment without deflecting it awkwardly. You amplified someone else in the room who was not expecting it. And you demonstrated publicly that you do not need to own all the credit to feel good about yourself. That last part is the secret ingredient. People trust those who do not need the spotlight, because a person who does not need the spotlight is a person who is not going to take yours. The praise echo costs you nothing. It gives someone else a moment they will never forget, and it makes everyone who watches it think, "That is the kind of person I want in my corner." Now the third tool is the one that makes most people uncomfortable when they first hear it. But it is backed by decades of research on what psychologists call self-disclosure and social leveling. It is called the vulnerability lead. Here is the principle. Whoever is willing to be the most human in the room first wins the emotional trust of the room fastest. And the simplest way to be the most human in the room is to be the butt of your own joke before anyone else can be. Ellen DeGeneres built an entire career on this. The Rock does it constantly on social media. Brené Brown has spent 20 years of research proving the same thing. Vulnerability is not weakness. It is the fastest bridge between two nervous systems that have never met before. So you walk into a networking event and instead of performing your most polished self, you open with something real, something slightly awkward about yourself. Not trauma, not oversharing. Something light that says, "I am a person, not a brand. I am in this with you." Maybe you laugh about how you walked into the wrong building twice. Maybe you admit you have no idea what you are doing at these things. Whatever it is, it does something neurologically profound. It lowers the defensive walls of every person within earshot. Because the moment you are willing to be imperfect, you give everyone around you permission to stop performing too. Psychologist Arthur Aaron found in his famous intimacy research that mutual vulnerability, even in small doses, creates measurable feelings of closeness between strangers. The vulnerability lead is not about being less than. It is about being real first. And being real first takes more courage than being impressive ever does. Now here is where all three of these tools converge into something bigger than the sum of their parts. When you enter a room with the pre-approval mindset, you are already radiating warmth before you speak. When you practice the praise echo, you become the person who lifts others rather than competes with them. And when you lead with vulnerability, you dismantle the social defenses that keep people from actually connecting with each other. Together, these three behaviors create what researchers call a high trust signal, a consistent pattern that the human brain reads as safe, genuine, and worth investing in emotionally. And trust, real trust, is not built through impressive credentials or perfect presentation. It is built through one repeated experience, the experience of being in the presence of someone who makes you feel good about yourself. People do not remember what you said to them. They remember how you made them feel about themselves when they were around you. That is the Maya Angelou truth that most people know, but almost nobody applies strategically. Positive projection is the strategy. It is the decision to treat the world as if it is already on your side, so that through the biochemistry of mirror neurons, oxytocin loops, and expectation priming, it starts to become exactly that. You are not faking warmth. You are leading with it. You are not pretending to trust people. You are giving trust first as a gift, knowing that in most cases, people rise to meet the version of themselves that you believed in before they showed you any proof. The social magnet is not born. They are built, one room at a time, one decision at a time, one moment of choosing openness over self-protection at a time. And now you know exactly how to build that, starting today, starting in the very next room you walk into.